and gentlemen, welcome to our final episode, our Christmas special, where we're going through a Sweet 16 bracket of our 90s Christmas toys. We started out with 16, we broke it down to an Elite 8. Now we have our final four, and I'm joined again by my lovely wife, Emily, along with my homeboy, Quaid. We're going to figure out who reigned dominant in the 90s for 90s Christmas toys. So our final four, because we're going to do our final four and the championship all in this video. So we'll get a clear-cut winner. So we're going to go into our first matchup. Our first matchup, the Nintendo 64 versus wrestling action figures. I'll start because I'll get a vote in. So for me, I never got a Nintendo 64, but like I said in past videos, seeing that video of that kid opening up that 64 on Christmas morning is Christmas. You know, you got a cameo there.
It'll be a store.
So that was still like sort of seared into my mind too. But I never got a 64. My friends had 64. And in comparison to the other opponents that the Nintendo 64 had to beat to get here, this is where I at least throw a grenade in the room to stop it. I'm going wrestling action figures.
I knew it.
I'm going wrestling action figures. I don't think it has a fighting chance. I just wanted to be the one to say it.
I like how you like let it up to make me think, or like make us think that he was going Nintendo 64. Because when we came into this, I knew that you would choose it, but the way you were talking, I was like, oh, maybe he's not. So.
Oh no. So I'm riding with those action figures. I didn't have a 64. I had a PlayStation 1. It didn't make it out of the first round.
The best Christmas of his life.
The best Christmas of my life was when I got all of those wrestling action figures. Like let me just tell a story real quick, just a quick one.
Okay.
I had enough wrestlers and enough like duplicates of wrestlers to have like The Rock in a leopard shirt and slacks to do a backstage interview with Jim Ross, and then a match to another Rock so he could go through the Titantron in his tights. Like, it was like that for me. And then another.
So you had all phases of The Rock's career, you know?
Dude, Rocky Maivia all the way up until the last one I ever bought. Like, I think he had like the shorter hair then or something like that. But yes, evolution of every character I had to that time. I had The Rock with the striped sleeves and the striped pants. Corporate Rock. I could make any storyline I wanted. And I could create any storyline, any current storyline. So that was my last plea for wrestling action figures. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Emily, you're up next.
Yeah, so you know.
Yeah, I know.
Because I've been voting for it the whole time.
And I know Quaid too, so I know what it's gonna be. I just wanted to spend my last, let their puncher's chance. That's all. But
I don't know. I think that if I loved it back then, like I love it now. Maybe.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because you're talking. I freaked out when we got our N64, and we definitely got it during Christmas, and I think most people did get it. Like, it was a holiday gift for sure. So yeah, N64. Just thinking about the hours and the fact that like, that was like my console for the longest time. I think we talked about in the first one, like N64, I had that until we got into PlayStation. Yeah. And that was just because my dad wanted one and he got one.
For the DVD player?
I don't think we even really wanted one because we loved our 64 so much. And even though we had one, like we would play it with all of our friends.
It was a good party console.
Yeah, GoldenEye for sure. Oh, I still would love to play Mario Party. I want to switch just so I can get and play Mario Party. But
61, we'll all wake up.
Yes. So 64 for me.
Well, Quaid, go ahead and let's move Nintendo 64 on to the next.
Hey, let him talk.
I'm sure.
You were right about one thing. It doesn't have a fighting chance. So it is 64 all the way.
I'm just glad
he already had it written down. He knew.
I'm just glad y'all gave me 2 minutes to sort of.
You let yourself vote
give
first.
My last. Yeah, that's why I want.
You made a compelling argument, but it's just there's no way it can be beat at 64 on top all day, every day.
I get it, man. I get it. But yeah. That hurt. Okay. So next matchup, Barbie versus RC cars. Or remote control cars. RC, the same thing.
Okay.
So
was RC a brand?
I think so, right? Wasn't RC? It was RC and Tyco or something like that.
I think, but
was it Tyco RC?
No, RC just means remote control. So
yeah,
that's like always took it, but
yeah,
it may be a brand. I'm not sure.
Tyco was definitely one, but I don't know if it was like Tyco RC or RC. It was something like that.
It doesn't matter. Sorry. Okay.
Well, were you stalling?
Yeah.
Okay, so
a little bit again.
So Barbie versus remote control cars and boats. If you've seen the last episode or the first episode,
we even throw planes, helicopters, whatever. Remote control. Remote control things.
Any remote control toy, apparently at the moment.
But versus no drones. So this is the 90s. No drones.
No drones. Versus Barbie. I tell you what, those planes, those remote control planes of the 90s or with tail in the 90s, they seem more durable than a lot of like drones.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact, like I had cousins just crash them repeatedly, and here they go again.
All going, yeah.
It's expensive, but still, somehow they held up better than drones of today. I'm not sure why. Yeah. But okay.
But no stalling. So no surprise for me. It's Barbie. Dion was talking about how he wished he had kept all of his wrestling action figures. I wish I would have kept my Barbies. I actually did have some of my mom's Barbies. So when they first came out, they came out when my mom was young, and so not to show her age, that was kind of mean. But I had some of her stuff, and it was so cool. And like I talked about, I had that friend that had the cruise ship Barbie, and she had these like specialty clothes that like only she could touch. Like I don't know.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah.
She was like Ken from Toy Story with his closet.
Yes. You were just thinking about that. Like whenever I was in second grade, we had a class hamster. And over Christmas break, one of the girls, Anne, took the hamster home, and the hamster got out. And they found it. But for when we came back, we all wrote stories about what did this hamster do. And my hamster, of course, was hanging out with Barbie, taking the Barbie convertible everywhere.
What grade was this again?
Second.
Was this part of that book that your mom just gave us?
No, that was kindergarten.
That would have been great to read.
Yeah, I love Barbies. And I hope that my children, no matter gender, will play Barbies with me.
All right, well, Barbies is advancing. Quaid, you got next vote.
He's got the tiebreaker. Oh, well, no, you guys haven't voted yet.
We haven't voted yet.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just already nervous.
This is really tough. But again, I mean, Barbie's is a titan of the toy world. You just can't not, RC cars, they're fun. I think most people outgrow. Well, I guess most people outgrow Barbies, but I just, again, with a wider appeal, you have to go with Barbie. I mean, you have to.
I was gonna say, if you didn't go with Barbie, Quaid, I was probably gonna give you trouble because you almost had Game Boy beat the remote control card in the very first episode, so I was gonna bring that up.
Okay.
So I think I'll make this unanimous, similar to the last episode with Barbie versus Barney. I don't know, man. Like, and I think make it unanimous. Barbie's moved on, so it's championship Nintendo 64 versus Barney. So this is Barbie. Thank you. Yeah. I just read Barney and then thought about it again. But N64 versus Barbie, two titans of the 90s. For me, I mean, I don't know how it was before when it came to like advertising Barbie, but I specifically remember like for the 90s, it was all about selling toys any way they could sell toys. So I felt like I just saw so many Barbie commercials.
Oh yeah.
Like constantly on Saturday mornings, and then Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network come out and They're during the day, like when you get home and stuff. It's just there. She was always there. So off of that, and here comes Christmas. Here comes like a special edition Barbie or something like that. There was no special edition Christmas RC cars,
no,
or anything like that. So.
And there's people that still have those boxed up.
Exactly.
Like their parents would like get them the Christmas one every year, and they probably still have it.
I can guarantee you, there's not an RC car that's boxed up.
That wasn't the purpose.
That wasn't the purpose.
No.
But yeah, Barbie alone like makes it to that final championship match. So let me just set the stage here for this match. So Nintendo 64 started out in our first episode, or at the bracket of 16, defeating the PlayStation 1. Then it goes on to, I guess, go up against its predecessor, the Super Nintendo, and the Nintendo 64 smacks the Super Nintendo. The way that Barbie got here, Barbie has unanimously won every single round she's been in. So up against Furby's, KO. Up against Barney, KO. So you have, again, think 90s. This is for all the marbles here. Yeah. This is 90s Christmas toy champion, Nintendo 64, Barbie. Quaid, you give us the first one.
Oh, okay. So my thoughts on this are, Barbie has been around for how many years?
Well, since 1959.
Yeah.
Decades.
60.
It's relatively unchanged. They've kind of updated, they've moved on with the times, but they're still around. It's still Barbie. It's still pretty much the same. The 64 represents like a moment in time. For we're getting older. We're adults now. We're the first real generation to kind of grow up with video game consoles, maybe the second. But video games are a part of our lives, and now you see adults our age and even a little bit older that are still really into video games. Our parents weren't. They're like, "What are you doing? Why are you wasting your time playing?" But it's a big part of everyone's life now, and I think the 64 in the 90s was just a huge moment in the video game world, toy world. That thing, Barbie's been around. Like I said, it's really hasn't changed much. It changed the world back then, the toy world, but what the 64 represented in the 90s, I gotta go 64 for the win, to take it all. Legendary.
Okay, so for me, again, we've had this discussion. I didn't have one. Right?
We know, poor Dion.
We know, right? I didn't have one.
He had 85 wrestling action figures.
I know, right? There, I had a Nintendo 64. I didn't have one. So, I like the point that Quaid just made. It stands alone. Like, say for instance, if we were to have a 90s theme party again.
Yeah.
What sort of define, what out of these two, what would define like the 90s for me to choose from? I don't know where you're gonna go, but I'm gonna still give you a chance to say your piece.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Nintendo 64 because again, the video of the kid opening up the present, that was the big present. You just didn't get that every week. Like you didn't come back to school over a weekend and a friend come up and tell you, hey, I got a new, I got a Nintendo 64, like I'm in the middle of February or something, or in the school year. It was always right after Christmas. You get there, somebody said, hey, I got a Nintendo 64. That was the be all end all gift for me. So again, never got one, but I understand that's my pick.
Yeah. And if wrestling were up there, that would have been your pick.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so you know what? I'm really conflicted here, but I'm with you guys. We're talking 90s. We're not talking all time.
Because Barbie has her.
If we're talking all time, I'm going Barbie. 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
Barbie, my easy bake oven.
And that would be like a different sort of bracket where, like, it's still Nintendo, and this is their legacy of continued consoles.
Yeah.
And they've sort of stood the test of time too. But specifically for this console alone, I can pinpoint the 64 for the 90s.
Yeah, and as soon as you hear that, you think 90s. So I'm with you guys here. I think Nintendo 64 wins and takes it all because it really so much fun. And I'm thinking about like, I wish I had one now that we're talking about it. Like, I know we can play with it with the Switch, but it's like not the same as the actual.
It's not quite the same.
No, like playing with my.
Okay,
I learned how to play on that.
I would say that was probably one of the worst joysticks I've ever played.
Hates it, but I love it. I think it was the best.
It was a pretty bad design. That's not.
It was, right? Yeah.
But it was a cool looking controller. I mean,
was so
like,
cool. And then when you get the color ones, and then when you find get like the rumble pack. Was that?
Oh, that was.
I'm like, oh,
to feel the vibration.
The first time, you're like, oh, yeah. I'm with you guys for sure. Nintendo 64 should take that. I mean, I do love my girl Barbie.
Yeah.
And Kelly and Holly and Ken.
There were different names for other Barbies.
Yes.
I honestly thought they all were named just Barbie and you had Ken.
She's got friends. I mean, she's got a boyfriend. Like,
this is true.
She's got it going on. She's a bad lady, remember?
Yeah. Oh, no.
So yeah, Nintendo 64. Take the sweep.
And that will do it for the 90s Christmas Toys Championship. Our winner, out of a bracket of 16.
Yeah.
The triumphant, the big body, because that was a big console too.
Yeah.
The sturdiness. Nintendo 64 takes the W. I think we had a very, a variety of things to choose from this bracket of 16. And to see that Nintendo 64 pretty much ran the table.
It did.
To a championship. Man, again, I don't think that's who I had picked for it, but that was just me with my one vote going through the bracket myself. But Nintendo 64, we're gonna have to find one.
I know.
Or buy one. I bet they're super expensive to try to find an old console now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're collector's items now, so.
Exactly. I bet you can find a PS1 real easy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I want to hear what the people voted, what their number, what their championship was.
So from our bracket of 16 all the way to our championship and our champion, the Nintendo 64, who would you have picked from this final four? Again, I'm sure we left toys out. I'm positive we did, but we couldn't do 64 teams. Trust me. We couldn't do 64.
I still think Nintendo 64 would have done really well.
It would have had a good.
There is only one correct answer, and that's
and Nintendo 64. So drop them in the comments section of do you agree with our Nintendo 64 pick for the greatest? Well, essentially, if it's a champion, it's got to be the greatest 90s toy championship right now. Because come on, it ran the table. It beat my wrestling action figures. For goodness sakes. So. Drop a comment below. Give us your opinion. We'll love to hear from you. Quade, Emily, thanks for joining me to do this.
Thanks for having me on. It was so much fun.
This was really fun. I'm glad we had Quade.
Yeah, we needed someone.
We need three to have that tie.
Yeah, originally we thought about doing it ourselves, but I was like, we're gonna be battling it out.
Yeah.
I'm glad I could be the arbitrator here and settle the dispute.
Well, Quade was sometimes on your side, sometimes on mine.
It's
so it worked out. So
that concludes our 90s Christmas Toy Championship. Be sure to follow All-Star Fandom Podcast on Instagram and on Facebook, and like, subscribe, share, do all that social media stuff on YouTube. Again, thanks for taking the time to join us today. Nintendo 64 reigns supreme as our 90s Christmas Toy champion. Until next time, we'll see you then.